Comparison 2026 Complete Strategy Guide. Hey everyone! If you're planning to expand your medical device into Asia, one of the most confusing questions is, which regulatory pathway should we prioritize first? Should you start with Medical Device Administrative Control System, Central Drugs Standard Control Organization, Ministry of Food and Drug Safety? And most companies struggle because they assume all Asian regulations are similar. They copy one dossier for all countries. They underestimate timeline differences. They miscalculate cost per market. They choose markets in the wrong order. And the result? Delayed launches, duplicate documentation work, higher regulatory costs, lost distributor trust, missed market opportunities. Because here's the truth, MDACS, CDSCO, and MFDS are completely different systems. So in this deep dive guide, we will break down regulatory structure differences, approval pathways step by step, timeline comparison, cost breakdown, very important, documentation requirements, clinical data expectations, distributor impact, market entry strategy, common mistakes with real examples, how to choose the right first market, how to reuse documentation smartly. Let's begin. Part 1. Overview of the three regulatory systems. Hong Kong MDACS system. Under MDACS framework, Hong Kong operates as risk-based system, documentation-driven, internationally aligned but not equivalent, market access focused. Key insight: Hong Kong is not mandatory registration in all cases, but is commercially important. India CDSCO system. Under CDSCO Regulatory Authority, India operates as license-based system, strong import control, centralized approval process, device classification under medical device rules. Key insight: India is compliance-heavy with strict import licensing requirements. South Korea MFDS system. Under MFDS Authority, South Korea operates as highly structured regulatory system, risk-based classification, technical documentation plus GMP requirement, strong post-market surveillance. Key insight: Korea is one of the most documentation-intensive Asian markets. Big takeaway: these three markets are not interchangeable. Each has different approval logic, different documentation style, different timeline expectations, different cost structure. Part 2. Regulatory pathway comparison. Hong Kong MDACS pathway. Step by step. Device classification, documentation preparation, LRP appointment, technical file submission, review and clarification, listing approval. Timeline 3 to 12 months. Cost moderate, lower testing requirements compared to Korea. Common mistake: assuming CE/FDA alone is enough. Example: company submitted FDA file without localization. Result: additional clarification rounds. India CDSCO pathway. Step by step. Device classification. Import license application. Technical dossier submission. Risk classification validation. Approval issuance. Import compliance setup. Timeline 6 to 18 months. Cost moderate to high depending on class. Common mistake: ignoring import license complexity. Example: company had CE approval but failed import license compliance. Result: shipment delay at customs. Korea MFDS pathway: step by step, device classification, technical documentation preparation, KGMP, good manufacturing practice compliance, submission to MFDS, technical review, GMP audit if required, approval, timeline 6 to 24 months, longest among 3. Costs high due to GMP and documentation and audit. Common mistake: underestimating GMP requirements. Example: manufacturer skipped GMP readiness. Result: audit failure, delayed approval. Part 3: documentation comparison. Common documents, all markets. Device description, intended use, risk management file, clinical evaluation report, test reports, ISO certifications, labeling and IFU. Hong Kong specific, MDACS submission forms, LRP authorization, technical summary report. India specific, import license documents, CDSCO application forms, free sale certificate if applicable, local representative details. Korea specific, KGMP certification documents, clinical data justification, Korean labeling, manufacturing site audit documents. Documentation mistakes, copy-paste documentation across all markets, missing translation accuracy, inconsistent product claims, outdated test reports. Key insight: documentation is not universal, it must be localized. Part 4: timeline comparison. Hong Kong, MDACS, 3 to 12 months. India, CDSCO, 6 to 18 months. Korea, MFDS, 6 to 24 months. Key insight: Korea is slowest due to GMP plus audit requirements. Hong Kong is fastest due to flexible structure. India depends heavily on import licensing process. Part 5: cost comparison. Hong Kong, moderate cost, lower testing burden. India, moderate to high cost, import and regulatory and licensing fees. Korea, highest cost, GMP and audit and documentation burden. Hidden costs across all markets, resubmissions, translation errors, delayed approvals, distributor delays, label redesign. Key insight: the cheapest regulatory path is often the most expensive in the long run if planned poorly. Part 6: biggest mistakes. Mistake 1: treating all Asian regulations as same. Result: multi-country rejection risk. Mistake 2: copy-paste dossier strategy. Result: rework in every country. Mistake 3: ignoring GMP requirements. Korea. Result: audit failure. Mistake 4: underestimating import licensing. India. Result: shipment delays. Mistake 5: choosing wrong market entry order. Result: slow expansion. Key insight: strategy matters more than documentation alone. Part 7: final strategic takeaway. Smart expansion strategy. Use Hong Kong for a fast entry plus credibility. Use India for scale potential. Use Korea for high-value regulated market. Customize documentation per country. Plan sequence strategically. Align regulatory and commercial goals. One powerful sentence. Asia expansion is not about choosing one regulation. It's about building a multi-country strategy. Planning to expand your medical device across Hong Kong, India, or Korea? Don't let wrong regulatory assumptions, poor documentation strategy, GMP misunderstandings, delayed approvals, cost overruns slow your growth. Why choose OMC Medical? MDACS, CDSCO, and MFDS expertise. Multi-country regulatory strategy. Documentation harmonization. Clinical data planning. GMP and audit preparation. End-to-end Asia expansion support. Whether you're starting in one country or planning all three, talk to OMC Medical experts today. If this video helped you understand MDACS versus CDSCO versus MFDS differences, follow OMC Medical for more global regulatory insights, Asia market entry strategies, and medical device compliance guidance. See you in the next video.